What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning into the channel. It's your boy Devin Coates. This is another edition of 48 Days with the 48 Laws. So this is going to be day 8. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to post these up. If I'm batching them, if you can see, this is clearly a different backdrop than I normally have. This is because I am on a work trip, so I'm fitting these in. I'm going to batch these videos. So I'm ending up going to do 3 in one day if my colleague doesn't call me for dinner before I finish both of these. So 8 and 9, 7, 8, and 9 were all done in the same day. But this is how you get it done when you're on another trip. I read these on the flight. I just fitted in my schedule wherever I could. But let me jump in. So law number 8, make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. So the judgment is, when you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It's always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards. So this book, this law actually has probably my favorite characters throughout the story. He's actually somebody I had no idea who he was in history until Robert Greene brought him up. So his name is Talleyrand, and basically Napoleon. He was the Emperor of France or King of France, whatever they were calling him at the time. Huge conqueror, but at one point he got overthrown and he got exiled away to another island that really wasn't too far, and it wasn't like he was in this faraway place that he could never be reached. And basically he's exiled there, and once he left, he kind of grew in like infamy. Everybody's kind of nervous that he'll come back, and everybody in the court is always saying all these things. And Talleyrand actually advised everybody, I don't know what you guys are doing, but we should have sent Napoleon very far away, but we didn't. So basically what happens is an English ships, and almost out of a movie type of sequence of events happens where basically in broad daylight, Napoleon somehow catches a ship and gets pulled out, makes his way back to the kingdom. And at this point, he comes back with a small army. He overthrows the ruler that was there, and he becomes the emperor again. But obviously, he's super ambitious person, if you know who Napoleon is at all. Huge war general, gets them into another war. But at the time between him leaving and coming back, France was in a very weakened state. They were not in a state to get into another war, so he gets into another war, where at that point he is defeated again, and finally, and then he's sent to another island in West Africa on St. Helena, which is impossible for him to free. So that was how they ended the story. Now the interpretation comes in where you find out what really happened. So Talleyrand advised the whole court that we should send this guy away or kill him, basically. And he basically knows that Napoleon is dangerous. He's a clever guy, and he's going to come back if we don't get rid of him for good. So he tells everybody this, and they don't really believe him, and they don't do anything. So what he does is that he basically baits him to come. So what he does is he makes allies with a guy in England and a guy in Austria, and basically what they do is they whisper in Napoleon's ear. They're like, you've grown like very popular since you've been gone. You can come back and be the emperor. So that plants the seed. He knows he's a super ambitious guy. So this guy, they send a ship, they bring him back. Now that he was brought back and he comes, Talleyrand knows that he's going to overthrow the emperor, and then once he becomes ruler, because he can't help himself, he's going to go and try to get into another war. Talleyrand knew the weakened state of France and that would fail, so he kept his mouth shut. He baited him to do what he knew he was going to do. He gets conquered, and this time he makes sure that he's sent away to a place that is far away and that he can't be reached. So Talleyrand is actually like my favorite throughout. I think Fouché is the other guy. Those two, when you hear those stories, like they are always kind of playing both sides, especially through France, because the time that we're talking about in France was going through crazy revolutions, crazy turmoil. Like they would switch sides of who was in charge, and who's getting killed like left and right. And to survive through all that, you had to be a very keen guy. Another way where he kind of talks about in the interpretations that is very important and very pretty cool in terms of showing this, exemplifying this again, is in around 1905. Russia and Japan are in a they're at war. Basically, Japan is not as technologically savvy in terms of their navy. They're not using a lot of modern warfare, and Russia is. So what Japan does is they basically kind of shine this fact towards Russia and start rumors about their weakened state. Russia actually comes, and since Japan is allies with England, long story short, Russia has to take a long ass trip all the way around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa and not do the direct route to get to Japan. And once they're about to arrive, Japan sends some more rumors saying that they're starting a counterattack. They're completely confusing all the people in the ships. Also, that long trip for them to have run has worn down all their troops in Japan, even though way less experienced and way less technologically advanced. They like just demolish Russia in this battle, and it was because they baited them to come to them. And the second part, they had them fighting on their soil. So when you bait somebody to come to you, and especially when you're in your home territory, your home ground, it puts you at a severe advantage, because just being in somebody else's territory, it kind of prompts you to act in different ways, be a little bit more impulsive, be a little bit more hesitant and anxious and maybe apprehensive in both ways. So you might be nervous, and that might impel you to make an action when you shouldn't, and it also might halt you from making action. Basically, you're not thinking clearly because you're not in your normal confines and surroundings. So that was really it for chapter 8. The only reversal really was that sometimes, being aggressive, having a surprise attack, it does work. You do always want people to come to you, but maybe if you're in a position where you're not as powerful, like guerrilla warfare and things like that, catching people off guard and surprising them is a tactic that can definitely work and can definitely be effective. So I want to keep these short. I'm going to keep them short probably for the next week, but thanks a lot for tuning into the channel. You can pick up your copy, link in the description below for this book. It's your boy Devin Coates. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you like this format better. Peace, and until next time.